The U.S. had a new president, President Thaddeus Ross, who used to be a tough general, but now wanted to show he had changed and could be a good president. After Steve Rogers gave up being Captain America, Sam Wilson stepped in to take over as the new Captain America. On that day, Sam and the new Falcon, Joaquin Torres, were kicking butt at the Serpent Society's headquarters in a monastery. Sam was armored with a vibranium shield and some enhanced combat gear. Sam made quick work of the bad guys. This time, their mission was to grab a package that belonged to the leader of the Serpent Society, Sidewinder. When Sam and Torres showed up at their hideout, Sidewinder took off and told his troops to get the package. He sent a guy to fight Sam to hold him back while he made a run for it. Sam didn't have any superpowers, but he managed to take down the big guy with sheer determination. Meanwhile, Torres got a hold of the package. At the same time, Thaddeus was at his wife's grave, feeling sad. That's when he found out that Captain America had successfully gotten the package. Torres and Sam were really tight, like a student and mentor. After the fight, they decided to go visit Sam's old friend Isaiah Bradley at the gym and even had a little sparring session. Not long after that, Sam got a call from President Thaddeus. When Isaiah asked why Sam was working with a guy like Thaddeus, Sam explained that the country was always in danger, so they had to work with whoever the president was. Then Sam asked Isaiah to come with him to the White House to check out what was happening there. At the White House, they took some photos first. Then Thaddeus called Sam to say thanks for getting the package and asked him to bring back the Avengers. Shortly after that, Thaddeus greeted the Japanese Prime Minister. It seemed it was a gathering with a bunch of important government people from many countries, and Thaddeus showed them what America had discovered. He talked about the celestial island in the Indian Ocean that lots of countries were fighting over, because it had valuable resources. There was this super strong metal there called adamantium, even stronger than the vibranium. Thaddeus didn't want everyone to start fighting over it, so he invited all the presidents and prime ministers to work together and share the adamantium fairly. During Thaddeus's speech, Isaiah out of nowhere stood up and shot Thaddeus, making everything go crazy. Thaddeus was secured while Sam and the others dealt with a bunch of shooters, including Isaiah. Isaiah made a run for it from the White House and headed to the park, with Sam and the guards hot on his trail. They managed to catch him in the end, but it was obvious that he was clueless about what was going on and really freaked out. Sam went to the place where Thaddeus was being held. He thought Isaiah was innocent, and there was more to the story. Thaddeus's security advisor, Ruth, was convinced Isaiah acted on his own, along with 4 others. Sam wanted to look into it, but Thaddeus didn't trust him and ended their partnership. Then he took a pill from his pocket and swallowed it. After leaving Thaddeus, Sam went to see Isaiah in jail and asked him why he shot the president. Isaiah said he didn't know what happened. He remembered being in the White House, but then he forgot everything and ended up in the park, surrounded by the cops. He told Sam to steer clear of the situation. Meanwhile, Ruth was eavesdropping on Sam's chat with Isaiah. After getting out of jail, Torres called Sam and told him he checked out the security camera footage from the White House. He noticed that Isaiah's phone lit up 3 times, just like the other shooters' phones. Sam then told Torres to look into Ruth because he had a feeling she might be up to something. At the same time, Thaddeus made a call and talked about prisoners to someone. Out of nowhere, Sam got jumped by Sidewinder, who was hired by some guy to take him out. The guy Sidewinder called the buyer. Sam was totally caught off guard by Sidewinder. He used the car wreckage to hide and created a distraction with the smoke, which helped him outsmart and beat Sidewinder. Sam grabbed Sidewinder's phone and got the opportunity to chat with the buyer. The Prime Minister of India and the President of France started to question their deal with Thaddeus after yesterday's attack, but they'd still back it up if Japan was on board too. When Sam got to HQ, he asked Torres to find the last caller on Sidewinder's phone. He also mentioned seeing something weird with Isaiah during the White House shootout. Torres quickly got the caller's address. It turned out to be at Camp Echo 1 in West Virginia. Sam and Torres headed over there pronto to check it out. Meanwhile, Ruth went to the prison to see Isaiah. As she walked down the corridor, a guard suddenly started shooting at the prisoners, then turned the gun on himself. Meanwhile, Thaddeus was heading to Japan to meet with the Prime Minister and try to get Japan to join the agreement. But then he found out Sam was going to Camp Echo 1 to look into the shootout, so he told the authorities to arrest him. It seemed that he was hiding something there. On the other hand, Sam heard about a shooting at the prison where Isaiah was, but he decided to deal with it later and headed to Camp Echo 1 first. Isaiah ended up in solitary confinement to prevent another shootout. Thaddeus called someone the other day when he talked about a certain prisoner. The guy on the phone suddenly got shot by someone who turned out to be the buyer, a man named Samuel Stearns, the same guy Thaddeus called the prisoner. Sam and Torres got to Camp Echo 1, only to find out it was actually a top-secret government building. They snuck in by cutting through the fence and sneaked into the basement using the elevator. The basement seemed like a mix between a prison and a laboratory, leaving them curious about what the place was used for. Torres went straight to the computer, while Sam checked out some photos on the wall, including one of Isaiah. They also stumbled upon some files belonging to President Thaddeus and a bottle of suspicious pills. Somewhere else, Thaddeus was chatting with the Japanese Prime Minister, trying to convince him to rejoin the agreement, but the Prime Minister didn't trust America anymore after yesterday's attack. Plus, it turned out America had swiped Japan's adamantium, which Sidewinder had brought in a package. Back to Camp Echo 1. Torres discovered that Samuel Stearns had come up with a way to control someone's mind using music and phone flashes. Then, out of nowhere, Samuel appeared. It turned out he was the one who paid the Serpent Society to swipe the adamantium. He said he got locked up by Thaddeus in that place and got blasted with gamma radiation from Hulk's blood, but instead of turning into the Hulk, he just ended up looking like a mess and getting Bruce Banner smarts. Samuel had the guards go after Sam and Torres, but they tried to take them down without causing any harm. Meanwhile, Samuel had already planned to make a run for it. Just then, Ruth showed up and pitched in to fight the guards. Thaddeus told her to go find Samuel, who had already made a break for it. Outside, some guards that Thaddeus told to arrest Sam and Torres ended up getting swayed by Samuel, so Sam and the gang made a quick getaway. Meanwhile, Thaddeus heard that a Japanese warship was headed for Celestial Island. He had to act fast, so he sent his military troops there. Even though there might be a war between countries there, he would go straight to the Indian Ocean to keep an eye on it. Sam made it to the army base to meet his friend. He asked his friend to take a look at the pills he found at Camp Echo 1. He also ran into Sidewinder, who had been caught. Sidewinder spilled the beans that Samuel Stearns was being held captive by Thaddeus and was ordered to make fancy weapons for the military. Turns out, Samuel stole adamantium from Japan to stir up trouble between America and Japan. After hearing that, Sam, Torres, and Ruth headed to the Indian Ocean to stop the war. Long story short, they made it to Celestial Island in the Indian Ocean. At first, Thaddeus didn't want help from Sam, but Sam told him that Samuel set it up to cause problems between America and Japan, so they needed to stop that from happening pronto. Samuel also created mind control stuff, and Thaddeus could be controlled by him too. Eventually, Thaddeus came clean that he was dying and needed Samuel to keep him alive with the pills he made. He wanted to let Samuel go from Camp Echo 1, but he didn't want to lose his pills. He said he really wanted to change and show his daughter that even an evil general like him could become a good person. Out of nowhere, they heard that 2 of their airplane pilots were attacking Japan. Sam and Torres were sent to stop them. Japan fought back by attacking America, but luckily, Sam and Torres were able to get everything back under control. Thaddeus attempted to reach out to the Japanese Prime Minister to call off the attack and let them know they were being mind-controlled, but the Prime Minister ignored it, and that really angered Thaddeus. Sam saved 1 pilot from the attacking plane. He also blocked a missile from the American pilot, but sadly, Torres got hit and fell. After a tough time, Sam managed to save the other pilot. Thaddeus was super mad until he found out Japan had pulled out their troops. Torres was in really bad shape after getting hit by that missile. Bucky, the Winter Soldier, took the time to swing by the hospital to check on Sam and Torres. Seeing Torres so messed up made Sam doubt whether he was really cut out to be the new Captain America. After all, he didn't have any superpowers like Bucky or Steve Rogers, but Bucky reassured him, saying that there was a reason Steve chose him for the job. Steve knew that Sam could handle the responsibility, even without the superpowers he had. Isaiah still had to face a trial for supposedly attacking the president the other day. Meanwhile, Sam's military buddy discovered that the pills Sam found in Camp Echo 1 had gamma radiation that could be absorbed into the blood and was super dangerous, but before he could warn Sam about it, Samuel found and killed him. Thaddeus called his daughter at work and asked if she wanted to go for a walk with him to see the cherry blossoms, hoping to patch things up between them. Then he went to a press conference and gave a speech. Samuel showed up and met Sam there. During the conference, Thaddeus got hit with a bunch of tough questions from the reporters about his ties to Japan. Meanwhile, Samuel told Sam he wanted to reveal Thaddeus's new identity to the world. Samuel got busted by the army, and word got out that Thaddeus had locked him up. Samuel started talking smack about Thaddeus over the loudspeaker, which got Thaddeus all riled up. Then, out of nowhere, Thaddeus transformed into a Red Hulk and started causing chaos. Good thing Sam was there. He tried to calm Thaddeus down, but they ended up getting into a big fight. Thaddeus took down 2 helicopters and then went after Sam, who led him toward the Washington Monument. They were on a street surrounded by cherry blossoms. Sam tried to snap Thaddeus out of his rage by showing him the cherry blossoms that his daughter loved, but Thaddeus was too angry to come to his senses. Sam struggled with Thaddeus's power. Even his vibranium shield couldn't handle it. In the end, Sam caused a huge energy explosion that wrecked everything around them. Sam made it out alive, and so did Thaddeus. Realizing he couldn't beat the Red Hulk, Sam decided to give talking a shot. When he mentioned Thaddeus's daughter's name, it finally snapped him back to reality, and he turned back into a human. Isaiah got let out because they found out he was innocent. Then Sam went to see Thaddeus, who was locked up in a special cage in case he freaked out again. Sam told him that the pill he took had gamma radiation in it, and that's what turned him into the Red Hulk. Thaddeus had stepped down as president, and the agreement he had been fighting for had been made. It included equal distribution of adamantium to all countries. Soon after that, Thaddeus had a surprise visitor who turned out to be his daughter. Thaddeus showed his daughter that he had changed for the better. Sam went to check on Torres, who was doing better. He told Torres to hurry up and get better, and then teased him about his mistake, calling it a rookie move. Then Sam gave Torres some tips for the upcoming fight. After the credits, Sam went to see Samuel in jail. Samuel said that Thaddeus was just a silly thing compared to what's coming next. He'd seen different possible futures, and he knew that the big disaster to come would be from outside of the world, from the multiverse.